Love is often considered the most profound and transformative human experience. It is the foundation of relationships, a driving force behind human connection, and an essential component of well-being. Love, in its healthiest form, fosters understanding, trust, and a sense of belonging between individuals. However, love is fragile. It requires constant nurturing, open communication, and mutual respect to flourish. Despite its beauty, love can be easily undermined by poor choices, misunderstandings, and unresolved issues. The fragility of love. In many ways, love is like a delicate plant that needs water, sunlight, and care to grow. When neglected or mishandled, it withers, and the emotional connection between individuals can erode. This essay will examine how love can be ruined in various ways, often without either person realizing the full extent of the damage being done. Love can be destroyed subtly and slowly, making it harder to identify the cause of the damage. Our goal is to explore these destructive forces and how to recognize them before it's too late. Ignoring self-love and personal growth. The importance of self-love. Before we can love others, we must first learn to love ourselves. Self-love isn't about narcissism or selfishness, it's about understanding and accepting one's own worth. When individuals fail to practice self-love, they often project feelings of insecurity, inadequacy, and unworthiness onto their relationships. They may become overly dependent on their partner for validation, which strains the bond and eventually undermines the love shared. Lack of self-love leads to a pattern of destructive behaviors, such as over-attachment, jealousy, or emotional manipulation. These behaviors signal that the individual is looking for external sources to fulfill internal needs. Without self-love, a person's perception of love becomes distorted, causing them to view the relationship as a tool for their emotional survival, rather than as a mutual partnership built on trust and respect. Self-sabotage. People often ruin love by sabotaging their own happiness. Subconsciously, they may fear rejection or feel unworthy of love. This fear can manifest in actions that push their partner away. For example, a person might test their partner's love by behaving in ways that create conflict or uncertainty. This sabotaging behavior is often born out of deep-seated insecurity, and while it may offer temporary relief, such as reassurance, it ultimately leads to the destruction of the relationship. Personal growth stagnation. Self-growth is an ongoing process, and so is the growth of love within a relationship. When one or both partners fail to grow individually, the relationship becomes stagnant. This can lead to feelings of boredom, frustration, and even resentment. Without personal development, individuals might rely on their partners to fill emotional gaps, leading to codependency and emotional burnout. As both partners remain in the same state of emotional immaturity, they may become unable to handle the challenges that arise in their relationship. Poor communication. The breakdown of communication. At the heart of every healthy relationship is effective communication. Communication is the mechanism through which we express our needs, desires, and boundaries, and it's essential for resolving conflicts and maintaining emotional intimacy. When communication breaks down, misunderstandings fester, and the couple drifts apart. Problems that could have been easily solved by a simple conversation instead grow into larger issues that seem insurmountable. Lack of honesty and openness. Honesty is the cornerstone of trust. When individuals withhold their true feelings or avoid difficult conversations, they create a barrier that blocks intimacy and trust. This lack of openness leads to emotional distance, as both partners begin to feel misunderstood and disconnected. Over time, this growing divide makes it harder for the relationship to thrive. Without honesty, love becomes transactional, focused more on avoiding discomfort than on building a meaningful connection. Miscommunication and assumptions. Misunderstandings are a natural part of any relationship. However, when partners assume rather than ask, they create a breeding ground for resentment. Assumptions often stem from insecurities or unspoken expectations. For example, if one partner assumes the other should know what they need without saying so, it can lead to frustration and disappointment when their needs are unmet. The lack of clear communication about expectations or desires can silently erode the connection between partners. The silent treatment. One of the most harmful communication patterns is the silent treatment. Instead of addressing an issue directly, a person may retreat into silence, either to punish the other person or to avoid conflict altogether. While this might feel like a way to win a disagreement or gain control, it does far more harm than good. It fosters feelings of rejection, confusion, and emotional abandonment, which ultimately drive a wedge between partners. Disrespect and contempt. The role of respect in love. Respect is fundamental to maintaining a healthy relationship. Without it, love cannot thrive. Disrespect, whether it manifests as belittling, mockery, or disregard for boundaries, erodes trust and intimacy. Over time, one or both partners may begin to feel undervalued and ignored, leading to emotional withdrawal and disengagement. Contempt and its destructive power. Contempt is one of the most corrosive emotions in a relationship. It manifests as a feeling of superiority over the other person, often expressed through sarcasm, eye-rolling, or dismissive comments. Contempt destroys love by causing one partner to feel as though they are not worthy of respect or consideration. This creates a toxic dynamic where both partners may begin to view each other as enemies, rather than allies. Research shows that contempt is one of the strongest predictors of relationship breakdowns. Personal attacks and humiliation. In moments of conflict, individuals might attack each other's character instead of addressing specific behaviors. Personal attacks, whether about a partner's appearance, intelligence, or character, are extremely damaging. Such attacks leave emotional scars that are difficult to heal. The victim of these attacks often feels humiliated, unloved, and unworthy, causing them to withdraw emotionally and become defensive. This cycle of humiliation and emotional withdrawal can be a quick path to the dissolution of love. Ignoring boundaries. A boundary is a line that defines where one person ends and the other begins. In a relationship, respecting each other's boundaries is essential for maintaining mutual respect and safety. When boundaries are ignored or violated, it signals to the other person that their needs and desires are unimportant. Over time, this disrespect can cause significant emotional harm, leading to feelings of helplessness and resentment. Lack of trust. Trust is the foundation of love. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship. Without trust, love cannot flourish. When trust is broken, it creates a deep wound that is difficult to heal. Betrayal, dishonesty, and deception undermine the very foundation of a relationship, causing the couple to spiral into a cycle of doubt, suspicion, and pain. Trust is fragile, it takes years to build and mere moments to destroy. Betrayal and dishonesty. Cheating, lying, and deceit are the most direct ways to destroy trust. Once betrayal occurs, it becomes very difficult to regain that sense of security in the relationship. Even if both partners try to move forward, the shadow of betrayal often lingers. The deceived partner may feel like they are walking on eggshells, constantly questioning their partner's honesty, which creates a toxic environment of insecurity and doubt. Jealousy and possessiveness. Jealousy is a natural human emotion, but when it turns into possessiveness, it becomes toxic. A jealous partner might seek to control their loved one, questioning their every move or isolating them from friends and family. This creates a suffocating atmosphere that undermines trust and inhibits the growth of love. Possessiveness reflects a lack of faith in the partner and in the relationship itself, making it nearly impossible for both individuals to feel secure and valued. Breaking promises and losing credibility. One of the most damaging factors in any relationship, particularly romantic ones, is the breaking of promises. Promises, whether they are big commitments or seemingly small assurances, form the bedrock of trust in a relationship. Trust is essential for emotional safety, vulnerability, and connection. When promises are broken, especially on a consistent basis, it erodes this foundation. The impact can range from minor disappointment to a deep loss of belief in the partner's reliability and integrity. Even small broken promises, such as forgetting to pick up groceries or not completing a minor task, can accumulate over time and create a sense of instability. These actions may seem insignificant in isolation, but when they are repeated, they signal a lack of respect or consideration for the partner's needs and expectations. Trust, once compromised, is difficult to rebuild. The partner who feels let down may begin to question the validity of future promises, leading to growing emotional distance and frustration. Over time, the relationship may become defined by these broken agreements, undermining the emotional connection and the sense of security that love requires. For relationships to thrive, reliability is key. Partners need to know that they can count on each other to follow through on commitments, both big and small. A commitment to honesty, dependability, and responsibility is necessary for maintaining trust and the bond between partners. When promises are consistently kept, even the smallest ones, it reinforces the reliability of the relationship and ensures that both partners feel valued and supported. Taking each other for granted. The dangers of complacency. Over time, many relationships begin to settle into a comfortable routine. In the early stages of a relationship, there is often excitement, novelty, and an intense effort to win each other's affection. However, as time passes and partners become more accustomed to each other, the effort can begin to wane. The relationship may become less about discovery and growth and more about maintaining what has already been established. This complacency can lead to a sense of stagnation, where both partners begin to take each other for granted. Complacency in a relationship often leads to a lack of emotional engagement. The once vibrant connection can become a predictable, comfortable arrangement that requires little effort. While comfort and stability are important aspects of a healthy relationship, without regular efforts to nurture and strengthen the bond, the relationship may begin to feel emotionally empty. Partners may stop making the same effort to express affection, surprise each other with thoughtful gestures, or engage in deep conversations. This lack of emotional investment can lead to dissatisfaction, with one or both partners feeling neglected or unappreciated. The danger of complacency is that it can go unnoticed for a long time, and by the time one or both partners realize they have drifted apart, it may feel too late to rekindle the emotional connection. The relationship may begin to feel more like a routine obligation than an emotionally fulfilling connection, and the desire to stay together can start to diminish. Regular, intentional efforts are needed to maintain the emotional spark, prevent complacency, and ensure that the bond remains vibrant and fulfilling. Neglecting effort in the relationship. One of the most common reasons for the decline of love in a relationship is the neglect of effort. When partners stop actively nurturing the relationship, the emotional connection begins to fade. Relationships require constant attention, effort, and care. Small gestures, like holding hands, saying, "I love you," planning dates, and expressing gratitude, are the building blocks that maintain intimacy and connection. Without these simple acts of affection and appreciation, love can begin to feel distant or transactional. When effort is neglected, the relationship can become routine, where both partners focus more on their individual lives than on their shared experience. Conversations become surface level, and quality time becomes rare. Partners may stop prioritizing each other, allowing the bond to weaken. Emotional neglect can lead to feelings of loneliness, even when the couple is physically together. The absence of effort can make both partners feel unimportant or undervalued, and this emotional disconnect can drive a wedge between them. In healthy relationships, both partners must be equally invested in maintaining the emotional and physical connection. This means making a conscious effort to connect emotionally, physically, and intellectually. When one partner stops trying, it places an unfair burden on the other, and the relationship begins to suffer. It's important for both partners to recognize that love is not automatic, it requires constant nurturing and attention. Assuming love is permanent without maintenance. It's a common misconception that love will last forever on its own without regular maintenance. While the initial spark of a relationship may be intense, it is the continued effort, communication, and compromise that sustain love over time. Love is not a passive force that simply exists in a relationship, it is an active, living entity that requires ongoing attention and care. Without maintenance, love can begin to fade. Just as a plant needs water, sunlight, and nourishment to grow, love requires regular communication, understanding, and emotional support to thrive. When one or both partners neglect the relationship, assuming that love will survive without effort, they are setting the stage for emotional disconnection. Over time, small issues left unaddressed can fester and grow, turning into larger problems that challenge the relationship's stability. The assumption that love will last without effort leads to the neglect of essential components such as regular communication, shared experiences, and mutual growth. Without these elements, partners can start to feel more like roommates than soulmates. They may become disconnected, drifting apart emotionally, with no real sense of the deep bond that once brought them together. For love to endure, it requires continuous work. Regular check-ins, honest communication, and a willingness to compromise are vital for maintaining the relationship's strength. Both partners need to recognize that love is not an automatic process but a dynamic, evolving connection that demands effort and nurturing. The absence of appreciation. Appreciation is one of the most powerful ways to maintain love and connection in a relationship. Over time, partners may begin to take each other for granted, forgetting to express gratitude for the little things that their partner does. These small acts of kindness, saying thank you, complimenting each other, acknowledging efforts, are what keep the bond strong and loving. When appreciation is absent, one or both partners may start to feel invisible, unimportant, or neglected. A lack of gratitude can lead to emotional withdrawal, as one partner may begin to feel that their efforts are not valued. This feeling of being taken for granted can build resentment over time, leading to further emotional distance. In the absence of appreciation, love can begin to feel one-sided, where one partner is giving while the other is receiving without acknowledgement. This imbalance can create feelings of dissatisfaction, loneliness, and unfulfillment. For relationships to thrive, it is essential that both partners express appreciation regularly. A simple thank you, a compliment, or a gesture of kindness can go a long way in reinforcing the emotional connection and showing your partner that they are valued. By fostering an attitude of gratitude, couples can ensure that their love remains strong, even in the face of challenges. Appreciation is a powerful tool for preventing emotional withdrawal and maintaining the deep bond that sustains love. Conclusion: the importance of consistent effort and appreciation. Relationships, like any living thing, require consistent effort, attention, and care. The most significant threats to love come from neglect, complacency, and a lack of appreciation. Breaking promises, taking each other for granted, and assuming love will survive without maintenance are all silent killers of emotional connection. However, by recognizing these threats and taking proactive steps to nurture the relationship, whether through consistent effort, open communication, or daily expressions of gratitude, couples can ensure that love remains vibrant, fulfilling, and enduring.